Dear students, welcome to the MOOC on India's foreign policy in a globalizing world. In this lesson, we are going to discuss about India and the United Nations. Main objectives of this lesson are to learn about India's relation with the United Nations, to know India's role in the United Nations, to understand India's demand for UN reforms. We begin with the first part of the lesson, in which we will discuss about role of India in the United Nations and emancipation of newly independent countries and anti-racism. The international system lacks a central authority, leading to conflicts and challenges in the global community's management. After World War I, the need for international cooperation became evident, leading to the establishment of the League of Nations on 10 January 1920. However, the League of Nations failed to prevent World War II due to inherent flaws, prompting the creation of the United Nations on 24 October 1945. The United Nations objectives include maintaining global peace, fostering international cooperation for economic and social development, and protecting human rights. The United Nations comprises 6 principal organs, including the Security Council, General Assembly, Secretariat, International Court of Justice, Economic and Social Council, and the Trusteeship Council. Additionally, over 30 multilateral institutions operate under the United Nations, with 193 sovereign states as its current members. Let us discuss about India's role in the United Nations. India was among the original 26 signatories of the declaration by United Nations issued on 1 January 1942 in Washington, D.C. A delegation led by Sir Arcot Ramaswamy Mudalayar and Sir V.T. Krishnamachari represented India at the UN Charter Conference in San Francisco on 26 June 1945 and signed the charter on India's behalf. Sir Ramaswamy Mudalayar served as the first president of the United Nations Economic and Social Council in 1946. India actively supports the United Nations purposes and principles, contributing significantly to the implementation of the United Nations Charter and the establishment of specialized agencies and programs. India's foreign policy recognizes the United Nations as humanity's hope for a peaceful and secure world order. In 1953, Vijayalakshmi Pandit was elected the first woman President of the United Nations General Assembly. India has actively cooperated with the various principal organs and specialized agencies of the United Nations. In 2021, India obtained non-permanent membership in the United Nations Security Council for the 8th term, marking the beginning of a 2-year tenure. India has played a significant role in formulating decisions on various global issues, including admitting former colonies to the United Nations, addressing conflicts in the Middle East, and promoting peace in Africa. Since its early involvement, India has raised concerns about colonialism, disarmament, and racial discrimination, while consistently supporting the United Nations efforts to maintain peace worldwide. Let us discuss about emancipation of newly independent countries and anti-racism. India actively contributed to the process of decolonization, drawing from its own experiences with colonial oppression and racial discrimination. India vehemently opposed racism and colonial systems, initiating its first international protest against racial discrimination in 1946. Early signatories to the 1965 Convention on the Elimination of All Forms of Racial Discrimination, India consistently condemned racial discrimination on the global stage. India took decisive action against colonialism, pressurizing the Netherlands to relinquish control over Indonesia. India, in collaboration with Australia, brought the issue to the United Nations Security Council, working towards a peaceful resolution under UN Charter Article 34 and Article 39. India supported the independence movements of various nations, including French colonies like Tunisia, Algeria, and Morocco, and championed freedom in Cyprus. India co-sponsored the significant 1960 Declaration on the granting of independence to colonial countries and peoples, advocating the unconditional end of colonialism in all its forms. India played a pivotal role in advocating for the membership of newly independent nations in the United Nations during the Cold War era. India supported countries like Japan and certain socialist nations that were denied UN admission by the superpowers. India's neutral stance during this period was significant. India was instrumental in uniting these nations through the non-aligned movement, leading to the establishment of the United Nations Conference on Trade and Development. Additionally, India's efforts within the non-aligned movement led to the UN General Assembly adopting a resolution in 1974 calling for the creation of a new international economic order. India also advocated for the representation of Communist China in the United Nations. India has actively contributed to global disarmament and efforts to combat terrorism, recognizing their impact on international security. India advocated for an international treaty defining terrorism and improving procedures for prosecuting and extraditing terrorists. India proposed the Comprehensive Convention on International Terrorism in 1996, emphasizing the need for a unified framework against terrorism. In response to this 26/11 Mumbai attack, India supported the adoption of the Global Counter-Terrorism Strategy in the United Nations General Assembly. Additionally, India played a role in the negotiation and adoption of the 13 sectoral conventions on terrorism within the UN framework. India's commitment to combating terrorism is evident in its leadership roles. India chaired the Counter-Terrorism Committee established by UN Security Council Resolution 1373 in 2011 to 2012 and was appointed as the chair of the CTC in January 2022, reinforcing its dedication to global efforts against terrorism. India has actively participated in multilateral export control regimes addressing global concerns regarding the proliferation of weapons of mass destruction. India introduced a resolution on measures to prevent terrorists from acquiring WMD, emphasizing the importance of preventing non-state actors from acquiring nuclear, biological, chemical weapons and related materials. India vehemently opposes the weaponization of outer space and played an active role in the group of governmental experts on the prevention of an arms race in outer space. The group concluded its session in March 2019, emphasizing the importance of preventing the militarization of space. In 2018, during the 73rd session of the first committee dedicated to disarmament and international security, India demonstrated its commitment by voting in favor of all resolutions related to outer space. These resolutions focused on adopting practical measures to prevent an arms race in outer space, establishing a no first placement policy of weapons in outer space, and promoting transparency and confidence building measures in outer space activities. India has tirelessly advocated for nuclear disarmament and non-proliferation, championing the cause in international forums such as the 18 Nations Disarmament Committee, special sessions of the United Nations General Assembly, and the Conference on Disarmament. Despite signing the Partial Test Ban Treaty, India staunchly resisted pressures to sign the Nuclear Non-Proliferation Treaty. Notably, India as the only nuclear armed state consistently supports the global call for complete nuclear disarmament and blocked the Comprehensive Test Ban Treaty in 1996, emphasizing its commitment to promoting a world free of nuclear weapons. I hope you understood about the role of India in the United Nations and emancipation of newly independent countries and anti-racism. We will discuss about India's role in peacekeeping operations and human rights in the next video. Thank you.